But now if you look at your Oxford checklist over here, you see that you have to go through this several different times. The reason why I do the formatting part first is because that helps my brain break up every single line into the component parts of the story. And that makes it stick out like a sore thumb if I'm missing a story component. One other way to go back through it really quickly with the formatting is to hit that, and this is normally something I do in proofreading, final proofreading, is to hit this little P key right here and make sure that all of that looks appropriate. And so what this does is show me where every single space, indentation, return key was hit. It allows me to check and make sure that, depending on what the final people want, whether there's 2 spaces after each sentence. For example, right here, at the very end of the sentence I have 2 spaces, and then a return key was hit, so it's putting in not a line break, but it breaks that. I can't think of what that's called. But we're starting a new paragraph right here. We've also got those 2 extra dots on the end of it. That can actually throw a wrench into things if I submit it like that. Like if I printed it like that, it wouldn't matter. But if I remove those 2, then when they're trying to use this on an electronic program later, it's going to give them less of an issue. Another trick that I use in this particular program is the spelling and grammar, which you can hit the F7. Now, if I go to the options, it will check stuff as I go. I have a custom dictionary. Now this allows me to check grammar as I type. It'll put those little red or green squiggles underneath. As long as all of these are checked, you will have an indicator if something is grammatically wrong. It's not foolproof. You can still get a lot of grammar issues. It is a computer. It doesn't check everything, but it does help you out. This is the next step, is follow the squiggles. Follow the red squiggles and follow the green squiggles. Right here, that's just a formatting issue, apparently. So right here, I have a stutter. That's why it's giving me an issue. Glove box may not be one word. I would have to look that up really quick. Let's see what the deal is here. Now, if I hit the grammar here, and I go to the question mark, it automatically brings up something. It says verb contractions can be used informally. Please substitute the full form of the verb phrase for a more traditional or formal tone. So instead of saying, that's kind of what I thought it was, but instead of saying he will, or he'll succeed where others have failed, you say he will succeed where others have failed. Now the reason why we're going to ignore this one on this particular issue is because it's within quotation marks. This is something that somebody is saying, therefore it is going to flow more logically if they use a contraction, because people don't speak like that. They write like that in a formal setting. They don't speak like that unless they are up on a stage or something, but this person is actually talking to their daughter or their mother, and they are not gonna say they are. They're gonna say they're. Okay, now guys, this is important to remember. Do not rely on spell checker for everything. You still have to proofread, and you still have to go over visually. Read it a couple of times. Spell checker does not check everything. Channel 11 News put Prince of Wales, and if you actually look, Wales is spelled W-H-A-L-E-S, which is not the name of the country, which is W-A-L-E-S. So that is friggin' hilarious. Here's a poem regarding computer spell checkers. I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC. It plainly marks for my review mistakes my eye cannot see. It's funny how often you can actually read over the same mistake again and again and actually not catch it, and then at some point go back and be like, oh my god, how did this get there? How long has this been there? Oh, here's an issue that I just now noticed. I gotta get back on that. That's the title. That's not properly capitalized. How long has this been there? So now the next thing that we're gonna do here is we're actually going to change the background color. Now this involves putting this in a different view. So if I put this in view normal, I format the background to a different color, like black. Now, obviously I can't see anything. I have to highlight all of this, go over here to where the font color is, and put that. This might not seem like an effective strategy, but all language and all communication is dependent on not just one part of the brain or the mind. Seeing text overlaid on a different color can actually force your brain into different modes of operating. Historically for myself, standard black text on white, just that background indicates some business or legal documentation that I only truly deal with in work mode. Take the white and black and you decided to just add a blue strip in here anywhere, my brain just goes into Facebook mode, which is not conductive to productivity. So now my brain is in RPG mode. My brain is going to be more about working out puzzles and paying really sharp attention to dialogue and plot development, because those are the elements that allowed you to actually progress in the games that primarily featured these two colors. So you were actually rewarded for paying attention to dialogue. That's why I changed this into that color scheme, because my brain automatically goes, ooh, I get a treat if I catch something in the dialogue. This is what all the old Final Fantasy text looked like. This is what all of the old computer sims kind of looked like. And just seeing this format puts my brain in a different mode. Now if I go ahead and change the background to a black background, this is more like what it looks like on something like Netflix or some other entertainment websites. It isn't work, it's fun. It's my brain is in fun mode when I see this kind of thing. I'm looking for certain entertainment things. My brain is automatically looking for a different set of words. And therefore, I've actually tricked my brain into a different mode of operating where the rewards for it are different. If I go ahead and highlight all of this text again and change this text from white to like orange, suddenly it looks like we're on Pornhub. Now, you might not think that this is important, but as soon as your eyes adjust to the low light levels of orange on the new black, then your brain is automatically going to scan for unintended sexual innuendos. So that is one thing that you really don't want in your final copy, is any kind of unintentional Freudian slip. People pick up on those very fast. And in this color scheme, anything that's even remotely nasty is going to pop out at you. Your brain is actually already wired to seek it out for reward when you see this color scheme. Another thing that you can change is the font itself, and the font size, and the font spacing. As long as we're automatically checking for grammar with the computer program, it's going to go ahead and highlight it for us a lot of the time. You'll check it and it'll say delete repeated word. However, at the same time, if you went ahead and changed this entire font back to Times New Roman, you'll notice it tends to switch up the line breaks and put those words at the same spot. That makes it a lot easier to catch. Still, changing the font around is one surefire way of tricking your brain into thinking you've got new material. Whenever you see the same thing over and over again, like Facebook, you get tired of it. Maybe why they're always changing stuff even though it's a pain in the ass. And if you really have time to kill and you really, really want something perfect, you can read it from the bottom to the top. That doesn't make sense, but what happens is it forces you to look at each sentence individually, and it allows your brain the luxury of mapping each sentence without the distraction of worrying whether this sentence fits with the sentence above it and the sentence below it. The sentences are then broken up in such a way that nothing is really processed story-wise except for the micro-story of each sentence, and that's a really good way to figure out whether a sentence actually even needs to still be in the story. If the story can survive without a sentence, then that sentence needs to get cut. Because every sentence needs to be able to move the story forward. If you have a sentence that isn't relevant, then it's not giving you progress, and it probably doesn't need to be there. And that's the same thing with chapters, whole paragraphs that you might want to cut. I've axed whole sections in my own work. Cutting a couple of paragraphs means nothing to me anymore. And that may be the mark of an experienced editor, the ability to overcome that internal hurdle of not wanting to have done a ton of work for nothing because you're going to delete it. However, honestly, if you have to do that, really, it wasn't for nothing. If you have one bad sentence, that bad sentence wasn't for nothing. As long as that sentence helped bridge your brain to get to the next sentence to complete the story, then you're fine. It's basically the equivalent of throwing down a big pile of dirt in Minecraft to get to where you're going, and then when you come back around to that pile of dirt, it's gotta go, because it's messing up the scenery. Game companies have deadlines. The longer their product stays off the market, the less cash they generate, and speed and localization copy editing is really critical to ensure that the other processes involved with bringing a foreign game to the English-speaking market run smoothly. Now, in your own work, if you do it long enough, you'll start to notice when your brain gets resistant to proofreading a particular piece, your brain just starts getting tired of dealing with the story. It's done. It's perfect to you. And maybe it's perfect to you because you're tired of working on it. When you're really writing on something, nothing is ever going to be perfect. You just run out of time. And if you have really spent all of the effort that you know that you could put into that limited amount of time that we have on this planet into writing, as long as you're really putting in the effort, and you are really honest with yourself, and you really want that game to shine, then you're going to do a really good job. A few other critical editing things that I want to bring up before I go. Not just the Oxford checklist. The Oxford checklist may or may not have an adverbometer on there, depending on who you're working with. I'm okay with adverbs. A lot of people aren't. Now, there are times when I can look at an adverb and say, okay, there's a better word to use here that combines the adverb and the thing that the adverb is describing into one. And you need to use that word, you need to learn what that word is and put that in here because it would sound a lot better. Scan through a work and look for the ly ending on just about anything, and then every time you see something like that, stop and think of better words to use, better way of rearranging that sentence that doesn't have that. It will improve your writing. Okay, one more very important step that I want to go over before we go is concrete language versus abstract language. You need to know what these two things are, and you want to be able to differentiate between the two of them. Concrete language means using words that force the reader to hallucinate, basically. All concrete language is based on what is detectable to the five senses: hearing, taste, touch, smell, and sight. These are going to be words like crash, chocolate, gritty, burnt, blue. I can say those words and you can see them in your head instantly. You can smell burnt wood. You can taste a chocolate bar if I describe it. You can imagine yourself feeling a gritty piece of sandpaper. So you can close your eyes and still see a blue sky. That's what I mean by hallucinate. These types of words and descriptions fully engage a reader in the moment, and for a split second, the rest of the world can seem to fall away. Abstract language, on the other hand, those are words that describe something that isn't concrete, like honor or heavenly. And while these words have meaning, you cannot see, taste, touch, smell, nor hear honor, because it's a concept. It's not a physical stimuli that you experience in the world. I recommend good editors go through their work with an abstractometer. You just comb your story for any word that is not concrete. Highlight the words you find, and then go back and see if you can find any way to replace those words with concrete imagery. Especially when attempting localization work, where the original copy was written in a culture that is entirely different from your own, it's going to be very important, because what is heavenly to us is not necessarily heavenly to them, and vice versa. What is honor to us and what is honor to another culture can be vastly different. And that will be true of all abstract language. All concepts are going to be different from one language to another. So I want to thank you guys for watching. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter as GamerWoman3D. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found some good use for the tips that I've shared. Feel free to leave questions in the comment box below. If you think of someone that could use these tips, please share this video with them. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.